हमारी सेना को नुकसान करने की थी तैयारी, हमने उनसे सीने पर चढ़ के दिखा दिया कि हमारे वीरों की कैसी है तैयारी।
वाह वाह।
भारत माता की जय, भारत माता की जय, भारत माता की जय।
भारत माता की जय मैदान में भी गूंजती है और मिशन में भी। जब भारत के सैनिक मां भारती की जय बोलते हैं तो दुश्मन के कलेजे कांप जाते हैं। जब हमारी फौजें न्यूक्लियर ब्लैकमेल की धमकी की हवा निकाल देती है तो आकाश से पाताल तक एक ही बात गूंजती है, भारत माता की जय। मैं वीरों की इस धरती से आज एयरफोर्स, नेवी और आर्मी के सभी जाबाजों, बीएसएफ के अपने शूरवीरों को सैल्यूट करता हूं। ऑपरेशन सिंदूर कोई सामान्य सैन्य अभियान नहीं, ये भारत की नीति, नियत और निर्णायक क्षमता की त्रिवेणी है। भारत की ओर नजर उठाने का एक ही अंजाम होगा, तबाही। हम घर में घुसकर मारेंगे। ये नया भारत है। ये भारत शांति चाहता है, लेकिन अगर मानवता पर हमला होता है तो ये भारत युद्ध के मोर्चे पर दुश्मन को मिट्टी में मिलाना भी अच्छी तरह जानता है।
आपके आने से हमारा मॉरल बहुत हाई है।
चलिए, सभी साधनों का भी एक बार इस्तेमाल हो गए आपको टेक्नोलॉजी। आपको लगता था सीख तो रहे, पता नहीं कब काम आए।
ये जो काम हुआ और जम्मू कश्मीर का किसी ने नहीं किया, उसके लिए हम आभारी हैं सर। इस दिन में
यहाँ के सेनाओं में, यहाँ के जवानों में दिन रात कटा से रह करके दुश्मनों से लड़ने का जज्बा जो भरपूर है, ये हर कदम पे आपका साथ निभाने वाला वायुसेना स्टेशन आदमपुर है।
शाबाश।
आग लगा दूंगा कलम से दुश्मनों सावधान, एक परमाणु बम से कम नहीं भारत का नौजवान।
जब से आपका नेतृत्व शुरू हुआ तब से हम,
अरे आपके नेतृत्व
With fighter jets in the backdrop and under the glare of India's most advanced air defense system, the S-400 Sudarshan Chakra, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today delivered a forceful warning to Pakistan. India will not bend to nuclear intimidation or allow its security to be held hostage by threats from across the border. This was Prime Minister Modi's first speech to the forces involved in Operation Sindoor. In his 27-minute address, he lauded the military for humbling Pakistan in the 4-day engagement that resulted in the destruction of 9 terror sites and damaged a number of Pakistani installations. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also spoke of the role of India's indigenous defense prowess. He praised the amazing coordination between manpower and machine power that was on display during Operation Sindoor. Group Editor-in-Chief Navika Kumar today also spoke to Austrian war historian Tom Cooper about how India's Operation Sindoor brought Pakistan to its knees. Let's first listen into that excerpt of this global exclusive.
We also have hit 13 Pakistani military targets, including air bases. How much do you think these air bases have been damaged? And do you think this is what brought Pakistan? The combination of the entrance of the nuclear site, the combination with that of the air bases being destroyed, is this what made Pakistan actually bow down and seek American intervention?
Pakistan admitted its defeat. It admitted it cannot continue escalating. It must stop. Or actually, India must stop. So Pakistan has requested India to stop. What American or Western politicians and mass media are reporting in this regard is absolutely irrelevant, because what matters is that Pakistan requested the call. Pakistan made a call and requested the stop, and it wouldn't do so. Pakistanis are not, somebody who is going to bow like this and simply admit, we have been defeated. This is nothing they are doing usually. So therefore, conclusions are de facto on hand. You have Pakistani nuclear weapons facility hit by Indian missiles. You have a number of Pakistani air bases hit by Indian missiles, and Pakistani Director of Military Operations calling New Delhi to stop.
Talk more about this and the indigenous prowess of India. We are being joined by Dr. Sudhir Mishra, DRDO Chair Emeritus, former Director General, DRDO, and former CEO and MD of BrahMos Aerospace. Thank you very much, Dr. Mishra, for joining us on the broadcast. Now, this was not just an address to our forces, but along with that, a message that was sent across the border to Pakistan. And it was very simple. The Prime Minister just went to the Adampur airspace to send out a message that all our installations, all our airspaces are absolutely operational and functional.
A single visit of Prime Minister has sent a message to whole world that the Pakistanis' statement about damage to Adampur is complete lie, and the way they are discredited. I think we have found another synonym for discredit, that is Paki. If you call somebody Paki, it means he's completely lying and he's completely discredited. So this is what a single visit of Prime Minister to Adampur has demonstrated to the whole world.
Absolutely. Dr. Mishra, go ahead, finish your point.
And our S-400 system is completely intact. In fact, there is hardly any damage to it. It is on the launcher, it is erected and ready to fire position. So it has sent a message to the whole world that we always speak truth about our capabilities.
I was wanting to ask you about our indigenous defense prowess. That's something that the Prime Minister also spoke about, whether it was the Akash Tir air defense system, whether BrahMos. What does this tell the world, and how are we solidifying our position when it comes to our indigenous defense prowess?
In fact, first time in the history of conflicts between India and Pakistan, indigenous weapons have played a major role. And Akash, BrahMos, and there are other microwave-based systems, directed energy-based systems, who have stopped their drones from coming to India. So now the services also would be willing to induct more and more indigenously developed, designed, and produced systems. So DRDO is very proud that we have contributed in the security of our country. And that has happened for the first time. And the weapons like Akash, BrahMos, they are used as a offensive weapon, as a defensive weapon, and that too in a major manner.
Well, our political will was very clear. Our armed forces delivered what we wanted, and that was, of course, through the missiles that were able to carry out the precision strikes. What is your understanding in terms of the significance of the inauguration of the BrahMos missile manufacturing plant in Lucknow, and especially at this time?
Actually, there are two statements that ghar mein ghus ke marenge. And second is कि ये नया इंडिया है, नया भारत है. They have played a major role in shaping the psyche of all the Indians. And when it comes to the Lucknow facility, then yesterday was a National Technology Day. And BrahMos had a huge demand for to meet the increased requirement of Indian armed forces. Apart from this, we have to meet the requirement of export also. We already have a firm order from Philippines, the order from Indonesia, Vietnam, Middle East, Africa, and South Americas. They are also in the pipeline to a certain extent, or to a larger extent. So to meet this demand, we have opened up a facility at Lucknow. This is the newest facility. And this facility would not only meet the requirement of existing BrahMos, but would also participate in a major manner in the design, development, and production of BrahMos NG. NG stands for next generation. That missile will have similar capabilities, but quite miniaturized and much reduced in the size. So it results into the more number of missiles can be packed in the available space without compromising on the effectiveness.
Right. Do you think that this will also, help us establish our credibility, and perhaps we will soon establish ourselves as the defense exporters we already are?
You see, earlier we never had policy of export of the weapons. In fact, we were the largest importer, but never used to export anything. In fact, BrahMos has become the first weapon exporter in our country. And the size of the contract is quite big, $375 million US. And Prime Minister has already set an objective of meeting $5 billion target. So unless we export more and more, we would not be able to reach there. Apart from this, the whole world has seen the functioning, they have seen the working demolition power of Akash, BrahMos, and other missile systems. And I'm sure more and more inquiries will come, and India would become a major global power when it comes to export of the weapons.
Right. The Prime Minister also made it absolutely clear that we are not going to bow down, or, we're not going to be blackmailed by any nuclear threat coming our way from Pakistan. And this just one trip of the Prime Minister to the airbase also exposes the propaganda machinery of Pakistan, the narrative that Pakistan is peddling and selling it to the West.
There is no doubt that the Pakistan used to threaten us. In fact, from their street level politician to Prime Minister, they used to say that we will use the nuclear weapons in the very first step. But this attack, this conflict, and before that, the other Balakot also, it has proved that the threats were, they were just imaginary. They were fantasy, a flight of fantasy. And now they will think, I think, 1,000 times, 2,000 times before even opening the mouth about the nuclear threat to India.
Absolutely. Dr. Mishra, thank you very much for speaking with us. Thank you for taking the questions. I'm going to open up the debate now to our other guests as well. So joining us on the panel are Major General A.K. Sewach. We have Air Marshal R.C. Bajpai, former Air Officer Commanding-in-Chief, joining us on the broadcast. We have Captain D.K. Sharma, former spokesperson, Indian Navy and currently consultant, Bharat Shakti. We have Veena Sikri joining us as well on the broadcast, former High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh. Thank you very much for joining us. Good evening to all of you. I first want to go across to Air Marshal R.C. Bajpai. A very, very powerful message delivered by Prime Minister Narendra Modi when he visited the Adampur Air Base, interacted with the forces, and through that address, he's not just sent a message to Pakistan, but to the entire world, and especially to those who are perhaps buying this narrative of Pakistan that they were able to inflict any sort of damage to our installations.
It has been a big boost for the morale of the defense forces. And Prime Minister had so much of confidence in our forces that he gave the free hand to our forces to plan and execute the operations. Although we were discussing every move with the Prime Minister, but the tactical freedom was totally given to the three services, and it was a kind of unique performance for this kind of a very united and all the three forces together operating, Navy, Air Force, Army, as well as the paramilitary forces. And you have seen that the kind of pressure strike which we carried out along the border on those terrorist camps, and thereafter when the Pakistan started shelling us through the missiles and through the drones, then we decided to make it ineffective, their entire air defense system and air space, so that they could not use it for any further attack on us. And it has been a big hit for the India to have undertaken this kind of activity, where all the bases have been almost kind of pulverized, and no area operation can be carried out from such places.
Absolutely.
And again, if it is required and they don't understand the meaning, then again we'll strike that.
Absolutely.
But certainly our
and you are absolutely right when you say that full operational freedom was given to our forces. The joint briefings, of course, were also led by the senior officials who were directly involved in the operation. And once we achieved our primary objective, which was to hit the terror dens, of course, the operation continues. That's when the Prime Minister stepped in, the address the nation first, and then he addressed our forces at the airbase. I want to bring in Veena Sikri into the debate as well. Veena Sikri, in that particular address to the nation, one thing was made absolutely clear by the Prime Minister, that we will talk to Pakistan only on the issue of terrorism. We will talk to Pakistan only on the issue of POK now. Also making it clear that this is between the two countries, and Pakistan was the first one to call us up. Pakistan wanted India to halt, to stop all its military actions. And we never wanted a war against a nation, we wanted a war against terror.
Absolutely. Our Prime Minister has, for many, I think more than a year now, ever since the Ukraine-Russia and the Israel-Hamas, our Prime Minister has been saying this is not the era of war. So we have made it very clear, our Prime Minister made it very clear that we are not interested in conducting any kind of war. And this was a response, first of all, to the act of war by the Pakistani-supported terrorists, who came and in a very bestial and cruel manner killed our innocent tourists, and on a basis of religion, on the basis of separating the men from their families and shooting them in front of their families. It was absolutely an unheard of cruelty, and we were determined to give an absolutely adequate response. On May 7th, that response came, and we attacked all the terrorist headquarters across Pakistan, whether Murid-K, Bawalpur, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Taiba, all these groups, and it was a very effective response. Now, immediately the Pakistanis, started attacking, sending across waves after wave of drones and attacking, colleges and schools and gurdwaras and temples and mosques in an absolutely, I would say, crazy method of, attacking the civilian population. But within 3 days, on the 10th of May, we saw that our Air Force and our integrated air defense hit back with absolute precision on these air bases, absolutely neutralizing them. So I think after that, when the Pakistanis went rushing to the Americans asking for, help and whatnot, it was the DGMO of Pakistan who called our DGMO suggesting that, there be a stop to all these military firings. And then we agreed to what is not being described as a ceasefire. It's not a Yudh Viram. It is being described as a pause. स्थगित किया गया है. So we paused the operation, only adjourned it to see what the Pakistani side will do. But I think that the message to the world, the message to Pakistan is absolutely clear. The accuracy and the absolute momentum of our Akash Tir program, the way in which it's all an India-built program, made in India program, using ISRO satellite, using, all the indigenous navics and everything, we were able to get this accuracy and, supported by AI, artificial intelligence. It is really an amazing tribute to India's scientists, India's Air Force and India's, integrated defense. And I think this is something that the world is shocked to see.
And you're absolutely right. This was not an agreement. This was an understanding. And the Prime Minister made it clear that if need be, we'll resume this and we'll hit Pakistan, or rather the terror dens hard. We'll continue to decode how Pakistan was brought to its knees, and I'll take comments from Major General Sivach and Captain D.K. Sharma right after this short break. I'm requesting our guests to stay on with us. Well, in his address to the nation, the Prime Minister made a couple of things very clear. One, that we are not going to be blackmailed by the nuclear threats that Pakistan was issuing. Two, that if we talk to Pakistan, it's only going to be on the issue of terrorism and the issue of POK. Let me quickly go across to our guests on the broadcast. Major General A.K. Sivach, something that the Prime Minister said extremely important that did strike a chord with the people of this country, and I'm sure with the world as well. He said, Shanti ka marg bhi shakti se hokar jata hai. Once again asserting that, if need be, we'll resume our operations, we'll resort to taking strict and stringent measures. But otherwise, we are not interested in waging a war against a nation. We are only interested in hitting the terror dens that impact us and that are Of course, working in very close coordination with the establishment there, as we all know.
Absolutely. Swati, no. See, we were only targeting the terror infrastructure. The 9 places which were hit in the first day were basically the infrastructure of the terror, and 3 headquartered Lashkar-e-Toba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, Hizbul-Mujahid. But once the Pakistani responded and started firing on our military installation, then we had no choice but to fire at their airfield, which were 11 airfields, which were frontline, and they were all damaged badly. And out of them, Sargodha, Skardu, and Noor Khan were one of those main airfields. Now the point is why Pakistan has agreed for a ceasefire, because they are the one which requested us, because they are not capable of fighting a long war. They do not have RT ammunition more than 4 to 5 days. They do not have a fuel to run their tank more than 150 kilometers. And whatever they can expect that Turkey can send them something that our Navy is capable of choking in Arabian Sea. The supply chain have been already cut. So Pakistan was exposed completely to the whole world, and they had no choice but to ask that. But 3 points are very important, what message India has sent it. One is any terror act will be considered as an act of war. So this is a new normal which Pakistan has to realize it. And second thing is, if there are going to be further talks with Pakistan, it will be only on terrorism and POK, not on Jammu and Kashmir, which is an integral part of India. So these 2 issues are very, very important. And as far as Indus Water Treaty is concerned, it remains held in abeyance. And therefore, what does it mean that we can now manipulate the water of Indus the way we want? And we have to teach a lesson to Pakistan that in case they do not mend their way, then we are going to teach you a lesson by controlling the water. And hydrological requirement as well as the information which need to be shared will not be shared. Another very important point, Swati, that as far as this Operation Sindoor is concerned, it is just a pause. Tomorrow we find that Pakistan is indulging in other terrorist activity, or they are trying to respond back. We will respond and we will start the operation again. And that's what is the message which is being sent. I suppose Pakistan will now realize it, and this nuclear bogey once again exposed.
Captain D.K. Sharma to come in as well, because we saw, the Pakistani leaders go on international news channels and make tall claims. And their defense minister in the National Assembly of Pakistan making some bizarre statements like we didn't intercept the drones or the missiles because we didn't want to give away our secret locations. Perhaps should take a trip to the Pakistani airbase now and tell the world whether they are intact or not, because we provided proof in the press briefings, evidence of how it looked before we struck it, and after there was nothing left.
Swati, good evening. And very rightly brought out by you, it is the era of information warfare, where the space is being occupied by misinformation, disinformation, and the works. So the disinformation which was being put out by our adversary has been squashed nice and proper today by the Prime Minister when he took this visit. And I must also bring it out, when the Prime Minister has reposed so much of faith on its armed forces, Army, Navy and Air Force, and you saw the meetings which happened before 7th of May, and then a full freedom to operate and attack was given by the Prime Minister, it really speaks volumes about the character of the man who was so clear in his heart that he has given the instructions, and within no time, 10th the ceasefire was done, and today he is there on that airfield, which was supposed to be struck, and all the infrastructure was supposed to be in shambles, whether you call up the S-400, whether you call up the air defense radars or the runway or the assets over there, or the casualties which was being, put out in the domain. Everything has been squashed, and I don't think they have a face to show. All those 3 senior officers of Pakistan Army, Navy, Air Force who were briefing, and all the handles which were tweeting, all the disinformation has been put to rest. And I think we have come out as winners because we are not speaking, we are only showing. And as you know, a picture speaks 1,000 words. So it is not for us to tom-tom that we have done this one, we have done that.
Absolutely.
And many other things will also be clarified in the days to come. So it's slow and steady. And now people should understand what is our strategy. We are not going to jump into the game. We will come at the time and place and opportunity of our choosing, not tom-tomming and doing this and reacting. No knee-jerk reactions now.
We don't need to do that. We don't need the validation from West. We have achieved what we wanted to, and I think what the Prime Minister is extremely important when he said this is not the era of war, and neither is this an era of terrorism. So while we keep on fighting against that big challenge, we also have to focus on development. Bharat ko sashakt banana hai. On that note, I'm wrapping up the show. Veena Sikri and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on the broadcast with your perspective.